Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio with us today, Anthony Trunnell, and he's the owner of Trunnell Insurance Services. Anthony, thanks for stopping by. We don't know enough about insurance, but before we jump right into that, I want to hear how you got started.
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm actually in Iowa, and my dad was a farmer, and you know the weather was bad back then in the 80s, saying he needed more income. So what he did was he got into insurance, and he liked it, and he started working in it, and then when I became a teenager, I started doing some part-time work there. And then I was in college, I was working mainly full-time, and then I decided I liked it. At some point in college, I decided I wanted to do it, and then I hooked up, I knew some sales reps, and I hooked up with one of the companies that actually gave me a shot, because I was very young at that point. And then the opportunity was over here in Chicago, so, well, in the suburbs. So I came over here, and that was 2001.
That's awesome. I always like to hear that it's a little bit of a family thing. I think that gives you great perspective. Now, tell me a little bit about what sets you apart from the other agencies out there that we hear from.
Well, I'm considered an independent.
Okay.
So you have other companies, the ones that advertise the most, State Farm, Allstate, Progressive. They have one company they work for. And with me, like right now, we've got 10 direct markets. We have secondary markets. We just have a lot of options for you. So one person.
So as someone seeking auto and home insurance, when I go to you, you're going to look at your list of companies and find which company is going to best fit me.
Correct. I mean, we've got what's called a comparative rater,
okay,
and we load all of your information in there, and then we send it out to all of our companies, and it comes back with rates. So it makes it easy for us that we don't have to run it multiple times, and we know they all come back the same.
Right, but I also get the choice, or I get the opportunity to shop different groups with one guy, rather than having to go see this guy or that gal or this guy.
It's a huge advantage, because you're right. I mean, typically you go out and you get a couple, and it's like you've got to give your stuff over and over and over to multiple people. And maybe they'll run it differently. I mean, you never know. The situation's different. But yeah, with us, you come to it, and then what we'll do is we give you everything. We try not to overload it too much, because it's like a lot of numbers. But what we'll typically do is we'll send it to you, and then we'll say, you know what, here's all the numbers. This is what we recommend, and we'll send you a copy of that. But I mean, if people want to talk about other proposals, we'll talk about whatever they want to talk about. Now,
we often hear the term insurance broker and insurance agent.
Yes, I get that a lot, actually.
Because people,
well, I'm an insurance broker, but I'm basically an insurance agent. I mean, like if you're with State Farm, if you're with Allstate with their farmers, I do the exact same things that they do.
And so if I'm with Allstate, am I an agent?
You're an agent. Yeah, you're an insurance agent. A broker just means that you're an agent who represents multiple companies.
Okay.
But I mean, I do all the same functions. Some people, they come to me and they think, oh, you're just going to price me and then,
leave you.
I'm on my own. After that. But no, I mean, we'll take payments, we'll talk about claims, we'll do changes on the policy. I mean, whatever you need to do, we can do it.
Right, so you're a broker because you have multiple companies to choose from, but you still serve like an agent.
Correct.
Okay.
I basically talk on the phone all day to people.
Well, and it's a complicated thing for auto and home. Now we see it on television. We all know the little lizard. We know Flo. What kind of insurance is that, and how does that differ from going to you?
Well, those are considered direct writers, and the difference with them is you call them up, you have your policy in front of you, and you kind of tell them what you have, and then they reprice it for you. The person on the phone does, or you can go online. You can copy it online, which I have people to do multiple. They do it both ways. But there's no agent involved. It's just direct between you and the company. Well, there's agents that are on the phone. I mean, they have license. The people you talk on the phone have licenses. They have to in order to talk.
But they don't have somebody to call and say, I get in a fender bender. I can't call up. Flo's not answering the phone over there, where Anthony's going to answer the phone.
Well, they do. And if you call them, I mean, that's kind of a selling point for me. Is like, if you call them, it's going to be on the record. Oh, I had a claim. I was involved in a claim.
Okay.
But with us, when you call us, we'll talk about it. Because, I mean, depending on the claim, depending on who's involved, depending on what happened, depending on how much money it costs, you talk about it, you can determine, do we turn it in right away? Is this something you want to do on your own? I mean, it all depends on the situation. So, because now, I mean, more and more companies, if you go back 10 years ago, let's say 15 years ago, all they really cared about was at-fault accidents. But now, I mean, most companies actually worry about incidents. So they don't care if it's your fault, someone else's fault, if it's a comp claim. They kind of add everything together. And so you want to minimize as many incidents as possible. that are under your name. And when you call in and you officially file it, there's a record for you. It's on your record permanent. Well, not permanently, but for 3 to 5 years.
Right. Now, what are some, you do both auto and home, so what are some advice that, most of us do not know enough about insurance? We probably found our agent because our dad went there or our friends won or something like that. What's some advice when thinking about shopping either auto or home or putting them together? We hear a lot about bundles.
Yeah, bundle. I mean, it's best to keep them together. It's always, if you can, I mean, in certain situations based on claims, or you'll just have a crazy situation where one company's great on auto and one company's great on home, which doesn't happen all that much. Typically it happens more if there's a lot of claims involved. But I would say the big advice for auto insurance would just be people don't have as much as they need, especially when you talk Naperville. I mean, Naperville, the average family probably makes double the average income, household income in the United States. And insurance at its most basic function is asset protection. So the more assets you have, the more income you have, the more insurance you need. It goes hand in hand. So, I mean, I would recommend you should have higher limits on your auto. And the thing that people don't understand is the higher your limits are, the better your discounts are in the future. So I always try to talk people into bumping their limits up, because what happens is when you quote again, companies actually give you a bigger discount the higher your limits go up. So it actually works out in your favor over time, and you have more insurance.
So if I have a higher limit, say $5,000, they're giving me a discount on my overall price.
Correct, your price. The next time you quote.
The next time you quote.
So,
okay.
I mean, their discounts are much more intricate now than what they were in the past. I mean, that's probably my main advice for auto. For home, I would say in this area, the number one thing that people don't have is sump pump sewer backup coverage in their house. I mean, a lot of people have it, but I don't think people are aware, like, how, and it's happening all the time. I mean, I think we're getting 1 or 2 storms a year right now where we're getting a lot of those claims, and companies keep increasing the cost of it because they can't make any money on the endorsement. But if you've got a basement, even if it's unfinished, I would have at least $5,000 in coverage. I mean, your furnace is down there, sometimes your water heater's down there, you've got stuff stored. Yeah, I mean, and the other thing with, if you've got a finished basement, $10,000 in coverage is not enough. I mean, it could cost $10,000 just to clean it up. If you've got bacteria growing, you've got mold growing. I mean, I've seen where they'll spend $10,000 or $15,000 in their basement, and so they get $10,000 or $15,000 insurance, and then ServPro or ServiceMaster comes in, and it costs $11,000 just to kill everything and make sure, and take the stuff out, and then you've got $3,000 left, and then you're pulling money out of your pocket. So you need more than what you have. If you have it, you probably need about double what you have.
And that's good advice. Anthony, thanks for stopping by and sharing a little bit about what you do and who you are. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. We're going to be right back with more Business Connection. Stay tuned.